I wish someone would make Third Reich Pet Shop into a real cartoon. I'd like to voice Rommel. Mosley was more misguided than truly evil. If he had taken power in the 1930s, his rule over the British Empire would have been more like Antonio de Salazar than Adolf Hitler or Benito Mussolini. Going slightly off topic for a moment, I have a taste for unusual and exotic hats. Will it be illegal to wear my caracal under a British nationalist government? Say what you will about the attitude of Mubarak towards democracy, he has turned Egypt into one of the most progressive and modern Arab nations. I fear that the current events will have the same result as the Iranian Revolution, that is, a modern and largely secular state is overthrown and replaced with an Islamic regime. I'm not so big on democracy myself, in fact I don't like it at all. I recently changed my name because I hated the name my mother gave me. Now I wish I'd changed it to something more interesting. I used to like Vor, but it's been hijacked by non-furs. Rabbits are delicious. Vixens are for sex, rabbits are for food. Get it right, you silly authors. I do like Vor, but only if it's realistic. That is, and throw ferret hunts down and eats none and throw rabbit dies. I really don't understand it when the prey somehow survives or actually wants to be eaten. I guess I'm too much of a realist in my outlook. I once ate a mouse that I was looking after for a friend when I was hungry and drunk one night. Rodents make my mouth water, don't know why. Probably my vulpine instincts telling me something. If Britain is a multinational state, then so are Germany and Italy, both formed from a number of independent states, like the UK, and there are many more cultural differences between Prussians and Bavarians, for instance, than between people living in England and Scotland. It seems the followers of the deluded half-wits Alex Salmond and Jerry Adams have been screwing around with Wikipedia and have almost total domination of everyone who disagrees with them. Anyone who thinks Welsh, for example, is a nationality is completely deluded. Wales ceased to exist as an independent state nearly 1,000 years ago. Is Essex going to be regarded as a nation by Wikipedia next, one wonders? Or even possibly Yorkshire, which is more culturally distinct than England or Scotland. England isn't a country, it is part of Britain along with Scotland, Ireland and Wales. The full name of Britain is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The fact that there is no British football team makes it even worse. The mere existence of the English football team promotes separatism and division. England only existed as a state for just under 800 years. How long does a state have to exist before it is considered a nation? The constant hypocrisy of Wikipedia really grinds my gears. My aunt thinks I'm a goth because I always wear black period clothing, but I do occasionally wear a pink shirt. It wouldn't be too difficult to stage a preemptive nuclear strike on Israel if we believed the IDF were planning something nasty. One of the few good things about Israel is that it's tiny. A dozen carefully aimed tridents would blow the entire country off the face of the earth. I would argue there are a number of problems, all of which are as serious as each other. I believe the prime problems are with our own people, not the immigrants. They just a side effect. We have collapsed into a decadent self-destructive period, just what Mussolini believed would happen to a nation that ceased to impose its will on the world. My father is a John Lennon impersonator and traumatized me for life by forcing me to watch Yellow Submarine when I was 9, so I have more reason to hate Lennon than most. I can't wait for the day when all the Reds will be shot. I think we should have kept well out of the Second World War. Hitler's ambition to build a new German empire in Western Russia was in no way a threat to us and was probably in Britain's interests, since it would have left the Soviet Union a powerless rump state. Hitler had no interest in Western Europe, and time again he emphasized his admiration for the British Empire, believing it to be one of the finest achievements of Aryan civilization. It's interesting to note that the vast majority of the deaths at Dachau and Bergen-Belsen, which were not extermination camps by any stretch of the imagination, were a direct result of Allied bombing of German railway lines, preventing the transport of food and medical supplies to the prisoners. If in 20 years you find yourselves in a labor camp for anti-national activities, don't say I didn't warn you. The camps in Germany proper were all conventional labor camps. No organized state-initiated mass murder took place at Dachau or Bergen-Belsen. It's widely believed that many of the deaths at those camps were actually the result of Allied bombing of German railway lines. Germanic bastards. I have nothing against modern Germans, but I have no love for their barbarian ancestors who invaded Britain and invented a previously non-existent country for the sole reason of keeping the British crushed. I have absolutely no decent clothes. All 3 of my suits are too tight and all my shirts are either too big or too small. The only clothes I have that fit me are a faded tartan sport jacket, a pair of frayed corduroys and a rotten old shirt. Why can't I get clothes that fit me? The fucking heels have fallen off my jack boots that I bought myself for Christmas. Why does everything I buy break? In my opinion, torture is sometimes justified, but only when extraction of the necessary information is a case of life and death. I don't care about the human rights of filth. World War II was not some great struggle between good and evil. It was nothing more than a 6-year period of global insanity. No one on either side had a totally clean record. Stalin, our ally during the war, was the worst mass murderer the world has ever seen. Between 20 and 40 million people died as a direct result of his rule, and the crimes inflicted on German civilians during the occupation by the Soviet Union are absolutely inexcusable. I'm not in any way attempting to devalue the great crime that was the Holocaust. All I am saying is that there was nothing in the least bit honorable or noble in the Second World War. Both the Allies and the Axis committed acts that could be described as nothing less than absolute evil. The camps in Germany proper were all conventional labor camps. No organized state-initiated mass murder took place at Dachau or Bergen-Belsen. It's widely believed that many of the deaths at those camps were actually the result of Allied bombing of German railway lines. Interestingly, it was Britain's victory in the Battle of Britain that indirectly led to the final solution. Initially, the Nazis planned to simply relocate Europe's Jews to Madagascar with the resources of the Royal Navy rather than exterminating them. I think it's time for a new national anthem. Putting aside my Republican tendencies and atheism for a moment, God Save the Queen is dull, depressing and pretty much pointless. I can't think of a single reason why it's been used for so long. Most of the other potential candidates are a load of decadent nonsense about God or invading other people's countries, so I reckon we need to wipe the slate clean and have a new one written. I for one like the sentiments of the Italian national anthem. We were for centuries downtrodden and derided, because we were not one people, because we were divided. Let one flag, one hope, gather us all. The hour has struck for us to join together. I'm a borderline teddy boy. I look gay roughly half the time on account of my bisexuality. An Australian kiss is like a Glasgow kiss, only involving hammers. My violent fantasies are dark and disturbing to others. For example, I dream of finding and torturing a retarded computer engineer who fucked up the audio on my laptop. I don't mind being called a fascist. I admire Benito Mussolini greatly. If working-class people ruled themselves, the country would be in complete chaos by next Thursday. I generally agree with the BNP's current policies, but Griffin's hijacking of the party as his own little cult of personality is unacceptable to me. I'm not American, so it doesn't matter to me either way. Although if I lived in the USA I wouldn't want a pledge of allegiance at all, because state-enforced patriotism doesn't appeal to me. When I come to power, I'm gonna play Johnny Cash on every radio station in the British Commonwealth 24 hours a day. I do not regard myself as human. If celebrities were furry, what would they be? Richard Burton, Mexican wolf. Sean Connery, lion. Michael Caine, fox. Charlie Chaplin, ferret. Ingrid Newkirk, Margaret Thatcher. Al Gore, Chicken Little. Now we know Bond would be a fox. What about the villains? I'm gonna say Goldfinger would be a cat. I have a slightly worrying secret that I've never been able to tell anyone before. I can't ejaculate, and I don't even know why. Everything else is normal. I get erections and I experience orgasms, but the spunk doesn't want to come out to play. I'm scared that I won't be able to have children, or at least satisfy a woman. What can I do?
Fuck off.